Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Friday, March 30th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up. Should probably maybe even call it monthly wrap up when I think about it. And I really hope this month you used good money and risk management and you find yourself ahead of the game. So let's take a look here. We still have 3 unfilled gaps. And as you can see, we're still right around that weekly open here on dollar Canadian. It's almost going to be a doji. So we'll see which way price is going to move next week. Now, for those of you who might not know, a doji is when the open price and the close price are equal. Or maybe in the case of the week, maybe it's just a pip or two. But technically, open price equals close price. That's a doji. That's the name of a Japanese candlestick. So just in case somebody wasn't familiar with the term. But I do believe, since it's Good Friday, as you can see, there's really not much action happening here. There's a little, but not much. I guess everybody's taking the day off. But there was some movement. As you can see here, it broke out of the daily low by a pip. So if you took that short, you wound up either scratching or taking a stop loss because you just really don't know what's going to happen. But you can see here how things are just stacking up in this area. And this is a big area, but you can see how these bodies are pretty much, same. So we'll see what happens next week, the next day. And looking at the buy zone, there's a scratch. There's money, 1, 2, you got about 3 scratches here. 4, but remember, dollar Canadian in the Australia, New Zealand, and early Asian session, we don't trade. Come to London, and you see we've got a nice short, nice cross across that weekly open. I mean, here, if you took the weekly open, there was some money. And you can see here, there was money there out of the buy zone. No rat trade. You can see here, there's not enough separation. We've only got 39 pips. On the other hand, there's the pivot line. There's the open, fading the pivot, paid it off. Price action, it's the same every day. You can take the candle color at the line. You can wait for a 3 ball or 2 ball, or even a 1 ball if you're so inclined, and take the turn trade. Just take the break off of the open, take H1 candle color at the line. You can see here what happens right there, right there. It's still been in a trade. You could have taken profit there. Little hairy hindsight, but it's the same thing every day. So even live. So here, you either go long or you go short. You might get a little, you might get a lot. And once again, yesterday's 5 lines, high, open, mid, close, and low. H1 candle color at the line. You can see here, just a little. You can see here, paid off more, paid off both directions here. Actually, the candle color at the line, you can only be one direction, and that would have been to the short side. But come back here to the long side. You can see here it hit the mid, so if you would have jumped the gun, then you would have had to scratch out or let it hit your stop loss. Wick zones, broken record Price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. Out a little here, out more there. I mean, this trade has about a 70%, or the price 70% chance of leaving the wick zone on one side or the other. And as you can see here, we put in a lowest open right there at the open. Price came up, put in a highest open, and there you have the price action to the downside. And I just turned on the computer a little while ago, and basically the tick chart is the tick chart. So weekly wrap up, there you have it. And what we spoke about during the week, you just really have to understand one thing. You don't know what's going to happen next after you place your trade, and that's why we use money and risk management. I mean, you enter a trade, you're either going to lose, you're going to win. Sometimes you'll just scratch it, break even, but for the most part, you're either going to make money or lose money. Now, since you don't know if you're going to make money or lose money, you want to make sure you only lose so much money when you lose. I mean, that's totally in your control 99% of the time. You know, there might be that occasion where you jump in a trade, you have your stop loss set, and price just, blows by it by 200 pips. I mean, the black swan. But so long as you're not on the wrong side of a black swan, for the most part, you can control your loss size. And that's one of the things you can control. As far as the winning side, they always say, let those winners run, but you don't know when it's going to run. I mean, do you take 5, break even plus 5, or do you move your stop to break even plus 1 and give 4 pips back if it pulls back that far? There's one way around that. Rather than enter just one trade, you enter 2, because on some platforms, and I think MT4 is one of them, you can't, if you enter, say, with 2 lots, you can't split lots. You can't on that same ticket. So you punch in twice. And so then if you're up at plus 5, then maybe you take plus 5 on one trade and you let the other one go. That way you lock in some profit. You could leave your original stop in place, or you can move it to break even plus 1. That way, if you get stopped out, that's okay. You could re-enter the trade if it turns around and starts going back in your direction. Just, some of those techniques, strategies to think about. And I pretty much finished reading that Annie Duke book, Thinking in Bets. So probably, maybe end of next week or early the week after, I will do a book review, mention it some more, read a few things out of it. But just to give you traders a heads up, I'm going to be at the Oregon Emergency Preparedness Workshop next week. So I don't know if I'll be making any videos. I might have to take my lapel mic with me rather than this big blue ball mic. Oh, thanks again, Ira. Ira donated the mic because he didn't like the way my other mic sounded. So I'll just take the lapel mic, and you'll have to put up with maybe not as good quality sound for a week if I get to do any trading while I'm away at the conference. It's all about earthquake preparedness. I do believe that's going to be their main focus, maybe some other disasters. Those of you who don't know, because if you haven't looked at some of my other videos, the non-trading videos, I am a prepper / survivalist. I live in a rural area, only about 12 people in a 1 mile radius. I like it like that. But I also live in the Cascadia subduction zone here in the Northwest. So about 50 to 70 miles out, there's a fault where the North American plate and the Juan de Fuca plate meet. And the Juan de Fuca plate's diving down under the North American plate. And when that plate releases, it's going to be like Fukushima, Japan. The entire Oregon coast could be destroyed. And I'm 5 miles from the ocean at about 300 to 400 feet elevation on my property. So I'm not really concerned about the tsunami washing me away, but don't know how well I will fare during the earthquake, depending on, if it's a 7, a 8, or a 9. And everybody thinking it's going to probably be the mega quake, the 9. So hopefully I will be home when it happens and I will survive it, hopefully. But then, going anywhere, it's either going to be on foot or horseback, or I'll have to fly a chopper in and evacuate us out. I'm not really sure what option is going to happen there. So all the emergency managers from the state will be there, or at least most of them will. So I'll get to meet all these people, see what they have to say, see what they're doing. Hopefully I can learn something new. But the main reason is I want to know what their plans are so I can make my plans accordingly. Because one of the things that we teach in preparedness is yo-yo, meaning you're on your own. It's almost like trading, when you're out there, you're on your own. So, like I said, I'm not sure how many videos, if any, I will put up next week. So don't worry if you don't see me. Worry if you don't see me the week after. Okay, no, don't even worry, really. So, as always, fellow traders, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. TheRumpledOne signing off to enjoy the weekend, and I hope you do too.